all signs are indicating that we are entering an inflationary period. Governments around the globe have been printing money to help alleviate the economic shock of the pandemic. Goods are more expensive to move through the clogged supply chain, and prices for almost everything are starting to creep up. So what does this inflation mean for commercial real estate? To answer that question, we first have to define what inflation means. That can be a bit of a tricky task because inflation is different for every person and every property. Economists have created consumer price indexes to help understand what kind of inflation the average household is experiencing, but this number isn't always applicable to commercial buildings or their tenants. This means landlords need to understand which of their costs are rising the most and how inflation affects each particular market for their spaces. Now, it is often said that real estate is an inflation hedge. Some commercial rents are even pegged to consumer price indexes. Not all property types offer the same protection from inflation, though. Retail and multifamily rents seem to adjust more quickly than offices, for example, since leases tend to be shorter. Another significant implication of inflation for real estate is how it affects interest rates. Central banks raise interest rates to help combat inflation, but this time around, many large economies still look strong, and governments are cautious not to spook investors with aggressive measures. Plus, long-term debt has never been so cheap compared to the interest rate for shorter-term loans, showing that investors largely think that inflation will only be high in the near term. The investment world is searching for safe investments that can keep up with this forecasted inflation, and many think that commercial real estate is the best bet. But, as with everything in real estate, which investments will be able to keep pace with inflation will depend on the details of each property.